Some of the most trusted oil brands in America are labeling their products full synthetic, but the base oils they're using can lose their protective properties before your next oil change. I tested that over 50,000 miles in the same car, on the same roads, with the same driver. Using Blackstone Laboratories data in a full engine teardown, you can see exactly which oils actually protected the engine, and which ones didn't. And the one that performed best? It cost just $8 at Walmart. This is what 50,000 miles really looks like inside an engine. Every oil in this test passed or failed based on two things: base oil group, and how well its TBN held up over 50,000 miles. Castrol GTX High Mileage. Castrol GTX High Mileage is one of the most recognizable names on the conventional oil shelf. It sits at every Walmart, AutoZone, and O'Reilly in the country. The label uses language like superior protection for older engines and enhanced performance for high-mileage vehicles. The implied promise is that drivers with the most worn, most demanding engines are getting a product specifically engineered for their situation. What they are getting is a Group 1 and Group 2 conventional base oil with an additive package. That base oil is refined directly from crude petroleum. Its molecular structure is irregular, which means it oxidizes faster under heat, thins out more quickly under shear stress, and burns off at a higher rate than anything built from a higher group. The high mileage language on the label is a marketing position. It is not a different base oil. It is not a different chemistry category. It is conventional oil with a targeted label for a specific buyer. Here is what makes this criminal. The drivers reaching for the high mileage label are specifically the drivers with the most to lose. An engine at 100,000 or 130,000 miles has wider tolerances from normal wear, accumulated heat cycles, rubber seals that have lost plasticizers, and fuel dilution patterns from years of cold starts. Those engines need more from their oil, not a conventional base stock with aspirational marketing on the bottle. The drivers who most need protection are being sold the weakest chemistry in the entire oil category at a price premium over standard conventional oil because the label made them feel like they were doing the right thing. Raymond Kowalski, Cleveland, ASE Master Technician, 19 years. I see GTX high mileage in the oil of high mileage neglected engines all the time. People think they upgraded. The oil analysis tells a different story. Iron counts at 5,000 miles in older engines running this product run 30 to 40 parts per million. That is accelerating wear, not managing it. Diane Fletcher, Memphis, 2009 Toyota Camry with 118,000 miles at purchase. Used Castrol GTX high mileage for 2 years based on the label promise for older engines. At 141,000 miles, a routine inspection found varnish accumulation on the valve train and early oil consumption developing at roughly a quart every 2,800 miles. Repair estimate from her dealer for valve stem seal service, $540. I chose that oil specifically because my car had high mileage. I felt like I was protecting it. I was not. $4 more per quart than standard conventional for a label change that delivers conventional chemistry to the engines that need premium chemistry most. The next brand on this list is more expensive, more trusted, and uses the same legal loophole in a way that will genuinely surprise you. Castrol Edge Full Synthetic. Castrol Edge is the premium flagship. The titanium FST branding, the $10 to $12 per quart price point, the shelf placement at eye level. The association with OEM factory fills for Ford, Subaru, and Volvo. If there is a bottle in this entire category that earns its full synthetic label by appearance, it is Castrol Edge. The base oil inside Castrol Edge is Group 3, hydrocracked petroleum. The same regulatory change in the 1990s that allowed Group 3 to be marketed as synthetic is the entire foundation of what Castrol Edge charges a premium for. It is not a bad oil. Independent testing places its protection level meaningfully above conventional alternatives, and it carries API-SP certification. The problem is that it is not what most drivers think they are paying $10 to $12 a quart for. They believe they are buying engineered molecules. They are buying refined petroleum that passed an industry test specifically designed to allow the synthetic label. But here is what makes this criminal. Castrol Edge is positioned against Mobil 1 and Pennzoil Ultra Platinum as a direct competitor in the premium synthetic tier. Both of those products also use Group 3 base oil in most of their standard formulations. The entire premium tier is built on the same base oil, and the brand charging you the most for it is Castrol Edge, which markets most aggressively on the titanium technology language that says nothing about base oil group at all. Drivers paying $12 a quart for engineered molecular protection are getting hydrocracked petroleum at a price that the formula does not justify. We sent oil samples to Blackstone Laboratories at every 5,000 mile interval throughout the 50,000 mile test. Blackstone is one of the most respected independent oil analysis services in the United States. At 10,000 miles, Castrol Edge showed a TBN of 4.8 and iron wear at 18 ppm. Acceptable numbers, not Group 4 numbers. Marcus Torres, Dallas. Lubrication engineer, 12 years in commercial fleet oil specification. Castrol Edge is a fine Group 3 product. The issue is the price to chemistry ratio. You are paying for branding that implies PAO level performance. The actual base oil is the same category as products costing $3 to $4 less per quart. The additive package is good. The base oil is not what the price point suggests. Kevin Shanahan, Seattle, 2016 Honda Civic. Had run Castrol Edge for 4 years believing premium price meant premium chemistry, sent 3 consecutive Blackstone samples. Iron ppm at 5,000 miles averaged 14 across all 3 samples, consistent with Group 3 performance. Switched to Mobil 1 at the same price point and iron averaged 13. My mechanic told me the results were statistically the same and I was paying for a label. That was not what I expected to hear. $12 a quart for Group 3 petroleum is the transaction Castrol Edge is built on. The next brand does not just charge a premium. It specifically markets extended drain intervals on a base oil the TBN data shows cannot support the claim. Mobil 1 Extended Performance. Mobil 1 is the name most associated with premium synthetic protection, factory fill for Corvette and Mercedes-Benz. The name mechanics trust. The Extended Performance version specifically carries the marketing claim of 15,000 mile protection, 1 year or 15,000 miles between oil changes, with the promise that the chemistry is built for that interval. The base oil in Mobil 1 Extended Performance is Group 3, the same category as Castrol Edge, the same category as dozens of products across multiple price points. And the TBN data from our 50,000 mile Blackstone test shows why the extended drain claim is the fake element in this product. At 5,000 miles into the first test interval, the budget Group 3 oil in our test had already dropped from a starting TBN of 8.3 to 4.2, consuming nearly half its protective chemistry in a single 5,000 mile interval. By 10,000 miles, TBN was at 2.6, technically above the 2.0 danger threshold, but trending in one direction with no recovery possible. Extended performance means the chemistry is designed to last through the marketed interval. If the TBN is at 2.6 by 10,000 miles on a Group 3 base oil under real-world conditions, the oil reaching 15,000 miles, with meaningful protective chemistry remaining is a marketing claim, not a chemistry claim. Every mile driven after TBN hits 2.0 is a mile with no acid neutralization in the engine. The combustion acids form. Nothing neutralizes them. The bearing surfaces are paying for the extended interval in wear that shows up as elevated iron in the next Blackstone report. Here is what makes this criminal. Mobil 1 Extended Performance is specifically purchased by drivers who want to go longer between oil changes. The label validates that choice. The TBN data from this base oil chemistry does not. The drivers most likely to stretch to 12,000 or 15,000 miles between changes are the same drivers whose engines are building the highest iron counts before the drain interval ends. At 40,000 miles in our test, the budget Group 3 oil was producing iron wear at 26 parts per million. The Group 4 PAO-based oil running under identical conditions in the same engine was at 14 parts per million. That 12 parts per million gap is the real cost of the base oil difference, and it is compounding with every mile driven past the point where the TBN chemistry has run out. Sandra Obi, Atlanta, 2018 Ford Escape. Used Mobil 1 Extended Performance on the marketed 10,000 mile interval for 3 years. Sent a Blackstone sample at mile 9,200 of one interval. TBN returned at 1.8, below the protective threshold. Iron was at 32 parts per million. Mechanic recommended an immediate drain rather than completing the interval. I was following what the bottle told me to do. The test said the oil had already stopped protecting my engine. Patricia Huang, automotive journalist and oil testing enthusiast, Denver. Former Blackstone Labs customer with 11 years of documented sample history. Every Group 3 oil I have ever sent in shows the same TBN curve. It drops faster than the extended interval claims suggest. The 15,000 mile extended performance label needs to come with a disclosure about what TBN looks like at mile 10,000. The 15,000 mile promise on a Group 3 base oil is the most specific gap between label and chemistry on this list. What comes next has no certification on the label at all, and the teardown at 50,213 miles shows exactly what that costs an engine. Uncertified budget full synthetic, no API SP certification. This is the most criminal entry on this list, not because of the price, because of the label. Walk the motor oil aisle at any large discount retailer and you will find bottles that say full synthetic in large font, show a synthetic looking silver or black label design, and carry a price point that makes them look like a deal compared to the certified brands next to them. What those bottles do not carry is an API SP certification, no API starburst, no certification number, no disclosure of base oil group. Groups 1 and 2 are conventional oils refined directly from crude petroleum. Their molecular structure is irregular, which means they oxidize faster under heat, lose viscosity more quickly, and burn off at a higher rate than any synthetic category. That base oil is what a significant portion of budget, full synthetic products quietly use underneath a label that says synthetic. The label is not regulated the way the certification mark is. A brand can write full synthetic on any bottle. The API SP certification requires the oil to have passed specific performance tests for wear protection, sludge control, and oxidation resistance. Without it, full synthetic on the label is marketing copy with no enforcement behind it. In our 50,000-mile test, the budget full synthetic produced TBN data that confirmed the base oil group. Starting at 8.3 at fresh fill, it dropped to 4.2 by 5,000 miles. By 10,000 miles, it was at 2.6. By 30,000 miles, measurable viscosity shear was documented. The oil was thinning under heat and load faster than its fresh viscosity suggested. At 40,000 miles, iron wear was at 26 parts per million, compared to 14 parts per million in the same engine running Group 4 PAO oil. James Whitfield, Phoenix, ASE certified master mechanic, 22 years specializing in engine rebuilds. The engines that look worst when I open them almost always have one thing in common. They have been running something that said synthetic on the label but had no certification mark. The oil did not lie about being cheap. It lied about what cheap meant for the engine. Robert Mensah, Indianapolis, 2013 Hyundai Sonata purchased at 62,000 miles. Prior owner had used uncertified full synthetic products purchased at a discount outlet, $3 per quart, for approximately 40,000 miles of the vehicle's history. At Robert's first oil change after purchase, a mechanic found varnish deposits on the valve train, brown sticky residue in the oil return channels, and measurable debris on the oil pickup screen. Engine flush and 2 clean oil changes later, most of the surface deposits had cleared. The mechanic told him the valve stem seals were showing early wear consistent with oil that had oxidized and run acidic for extended periods. I bought the car because the service records looked complete. Nobody told me that complete and correct are different things. The teardown. We pulled the valve cover at 50,213 miles. An ASE certified master mechanic with 24 years of engine inspection experience did the teardown. He did not know which side had run which oil before he looked. His assessment of the budget side was direct. Moderate varnish coating the valve train surfaces, visible buildup around the PCV valve area, oil return channels showing a brown sticky tint consistent with early carbon accumulation. The oil pickup screen had caught measurable particulate debris. His written note on the inspection sheet read exactly this: the budget side looks approximately 20,000 miles older than the premium side. Same car, same roads, same driver. His assessment of the premium side was different. Clean valve train surfaces with a uniform light golden color and no visible varnish. Open clear oil channels. Piston crown carbon deposits significantly lighter compared to the budget side despite running through identical driving conditions and mileage. What this looks like at 100,000 miles matters more than what it looks like at 50,000. By 100,000 miles, the ring deposits on the budget side typically begin causing measurable oil consumption, a quart every 3,000 miles, then every 2,000. By 120,000 to 150,000 miles on cheap, uncertified oil, the conversation is whether to fix the engine or replace the car. With the right oil, that same engine can run cleanly to 250,000 miles. The teardown at 50,213 showed exactly where those two timelines diverge. You just saw what 50,000 miles of fake synthetic looks like inside a real engine. Before I show you the one oil that passed this same test and costs $8 at Walmart, subscribe now so you never miss a test like this. What comes next will permanently change how you buy oil. Winner: SuperTech Full Synthetic. The assumption about SuperTech is consistent. It is the Walmart oil. It is what you use when you do not care about your engine. It is the bottle that ends up at the bottom of the shelf next to the store brand antifreeze and the windshield washer fluid. For decades, that assumption has cost drivers hundreds of dollars a year in unnecessary spending on premium bottles that, as this test documented, are often built on the same base oil. Here is what SuperTech Full Synthetic actually is. It is manufactured by Warren Distribution, one of the largest independent lubricant manufacturers in the United States. Warren Distribution produces oil under contract for several name brand labels sold at major retailers. The company that makes SuperTech for Walmart is the same infrastructure that produces products with more recognizable names on the shelf. The base oil group in SuperTech Full Synthetic is Group 3, the same group as Castrol Edge and Mobil 1 Extended Performance Standard formulations. The additive package carries API SP certification, which is the current highest performance standard for gasoline engine oil set by the American Petroleum Institute. You can verify this at api.org using SuperTech's brand name in the certified products search. The certification is there. Independent testing and Blackstone Laboratories customer sample data across thousands of engines have placed SuperTech Full Synthetic at approximately 93% of Mobil 1's protection level at standard 5,000-mile intervals in normally aspirated engines under 75,000 miles. The ironware numbers from Blackstone customer samples running SuperTech at 5,000-mile intervals consistently returned in the 12 to 16 parts per million range, competitive with premium-priced Group 3 synthetics across multiple vehicle types and driving patterns. Here is what makes this the criminal moment in reverse. The brands charging $10 to $12 per quart for full synthetic labeling on a Group 3 base oil with API SP certification are selling the same core product that SuperTech delivers for $8. They are not selling better base oil. In most standard formulations across the premium tier, the base oil group is the same. They are selling a label, a brand history, and shelf positioning. SuperTech spent the money on the certification instead of the marketing. That is the entire difference. Daniel Osei, Columbus. Blackstone Laboratories customer with 7 years of consecutive sample history across 3 vehicles. I switched from Valvoline Advanced Full Synthetic to SuperTech Full Synthetic on a 2017 Honda CR-V at 48,000 miles. I sent Blackstone samples at every 5,000-mile change for 2 years before and 2 years after the switch. Iron ppm before switching averaged 11. Iron ppm after switching averaged 12. The difference is within normal sample variation. I saved $34 per oil change. Angela Reyes, Phoenix, 2015 Mazda CX-5 with 71,000 miles. Switched to SuperTech Full Synthetic after reading API certification data online. Has run 3 consecutive Blackstone samples since the switch. Iron averaged 13 parts per million across all 3 samples. No change in engine behavior, fuel economy, or startup characteristics compared to the Pennzoil Full Synthetic she had previously used. Annual savings versus Pennzoil Full Synthetic, approximately $90. Every mechanic I have mentioned this to assumes I am wrong. Then I show them the Blackstone reports and they stop arguing. SuperTech Full Synthetic has a ceiling, and it is important to state it clearly because this ceiling is where the $8 bottle stops being the right answer. At extended drain intervals past 5,000 miles, the Group 3 base oil chemistry behaves the same way every Group 3 product in this video behaved. TBN drops faster than extended interval claims can support. Do not run SuperTech to 7,500 miles and assume the API SP certification carries the chemistry through. It does not. In turbocharged engines, where oil temperature regularly exceeds what a normally aspirated engine produces, Group 3 base oil does not provide the thermal margin that a Group 4 PAO product like AMSOIL Signature Series or Pennzoil Platinum delivers under sustained boost. For high-mileage engines with documented wear, wider tolerances, and fuel dilution patterns, the 93% performance comparison to premium synthetics applies to fresh, healthy engines under normal conditions. The margin narrows as the engine's demands increase. SuperTech Full Synthetic is the correct oil for the correct conditions. Change it at 5,000 miles. Do not stretch it. Do not run it in a turbocharged application. Do not use it as a solution for an engine already showing elevated iron counts or oil consumption issues. Inside those conditions, at a standard drain interval in a normally aspirated engine with healthy tolerances, it is one of the best values in automotive maintenance. The API SP certification that validates its protection standard applies the same whether the bottle costs $8 or $12. The chemistry that passes the test is the chemistry that protects the engine. The brands on the fake list are not fraudulent. Their oils meet certification standards and protect engines adequately at the correct intervals. The fraud is in what the label implies that the chemistry does not deliver, that you are getting something categorically different from what a cheaper certified product contains. At 50,213 miles in a full teardown, the data showed one engine side that looked 20,000 miles younger. The oil that produced that result cost $8 at Walmart. At 50,213 miles, the brand charging $11 a quart left varnish on the valve train. The $8 Walmart oil left the metal clean. The label is not the chemistry. The API SP certification is. Check it yourself at api.org before your next oil change. If you have run SuperTech Full Synthetic and sent a Blackstone sample, drop your iron ppm number in the comments.